Welcome to Gemara Academy. In this class, we will learn Tosfos Dibra Maschel V'toch b'fanei chayev. Let's begin. V'toch b'fanei chayev. In the Gemara, we said that if there was a brick in the Rosh Hashanah and somebody threw an item at the brick from a distance of 4 amos, v'toch b'fanei, it stuck to the face of the brick, chayev, he's chayev for throwing 4 amos in the Rosh Hashanah. So Tosfos here is going to present two opinions on how we view or where we view the item to be at rest when it's stuck to the brick, and as a result, does the brick need to be 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim wide? So let's see Tosfos inside. Rabbeinu Tam says the that if it comes to rest at above 3 tefachim from the ground, because within 3 tefachim from the ground we say lavud, anything within 3 tefachim from the ground is viewed as if it's resting on the ground. So therefore it'll come out that if it stuck to the brick within 3 tefachim from the ground, we view it as resting on the ground, which certainly has an area of 4 by 4 tefachim. However, Rabbeinu Tam says that if it came to rest above 3 tefachim from the ground, it's necessary that it should be on the face of the brick, 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim wide. And he explains, and what is stuck on the face of the brick, is considered as if it's resting on the brick, even though it's only in the air. In other words, what Rabbeinu Tam says is that if it's above 3 tefachim from the ground, although when it's stuck to the brick, it's suspended in the air, but since it's stuck to the brick, we view it as if the hanacha is on the brick. And as a result, since the hanacha is on the brick, it's necessary for the brick to have an area of 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim wide, as we learned earlier that the hanacha needs to be on an area that's 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim. So it comes out according to this, that when the Gemara says, when Rabbi Rashila Amar of Chisda said, that if it's stuck to the face of the brick, the person is chayiv, it refers specifically if it's within 3 tefachim from the ground. However, above 3 tefachim from the ground, there's another condition, another requirement that's needed, and that is that it should be 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim wide, which we don't really have in our Gemara, because we're talking about a levena, and the levena is 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim on top, which means that the side will only be 3 tefachim wide. So there we have presented the opinion of Rabbeinu Tam, and that is that the item is at rest on the brick, and therefore, as a result, the brick needs to have an area of 4 by 4 tefachim in width. Now Tosfos is going to take this explanation of Rabbeinu Tam and apply it to another teaching. V'chein hadetnan, and also this that it says in the Mishnah, in our Gemara, on the Zayin and Beis, in our Sugya, lamata miyud kazert ba'aretz, that lower than 10 tefachim, it's if he threw it on the ground. It says over there that if somebody threw an item, 4 amos and Rosh Hashanah at a wall, and it's stuck to the wall, the din is that if it's within 10 tefachim of the ground, it's the same din as when he threw it and it landed on the ground. Just like when it landed on the ground, he's chayiv, so too when it's stuck to the wall, he's chayiv. Umukila Rabbi Yechanan b'dvela shmina, and Rabbi Yechanan establishes that it's by a fatty fig that would stick to the wall. So hainu taimanami, this is also the reason what we just explained, and that is the kaven shenindbuk b'fnei hakaisel, that since it's stuck to the face of the wall, shu reichav dalad al dalad, that has the width of 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim, so therefore chashuv kamunach is considered as if it's resting in it. So Tosfos is just applying this understanding of Rabbeinu Tam to that Mishnah, that the same explanation is there as well, and that is that it's resting on the wall, which has the size of 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim in width. Now Tosfos is going to move on and present the opinion of the Riva. For Riva Pirish, and Riva explains the Aflam Mailam Gimel, that also above 3 tefachim, it's not necessary, it's not required that there should be on the face of the brick, v'kaisel, or of the wall, dalad al dalad, an area of 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim width. And the reason is the kaven shirayas a karka, because since it sees the ground, chashiv kemunach al gaba karka, it's considered as if it's resting on the ground. The Riva says that not only when it's within 3 tefachim of the ground do we view it as resting on the ground, but even when it's above 3 tefachim from the ground, we view it as resting on the ground. And the reason is that since there's a direct line of vision between the item that's suspended in the air and the ground, there's a direct line, we view it as resting on the ground, and therefore it's not necessary that the wall should be 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim wide, or the brick, because it's not resting on the wall or the brick, it's resting on the ground. So there we have presented the opinion of Rabbeinu Tam and the opinion of Riva. Rabbeinu Tam says it's resting on the wall, and therefore the wall needs to be 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim wide, and the Riva says it's not resting on the wall, it's resting on the ground, and therefore the wall does not need to have a size of 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim wide. And Tosfos concludes with a difficulty that the Ri has on the explanation of the Riva. The Kashal Ri, and this is difficult to the Ri, the Le'el, because earlier, Kiparach Amasnisim, when the Gemara asks on our Mishnah, the Pashat Yad, our Mishnah that says that if either one of them did the complete malacha, he's going to be chayiv. But the Gemara asks, but we need, it's required to have an akira anacha from upon a place that's 4 by 4. And in each case, either the akira is done from the hand of the other person, or the anacha was done into the hand of the other person. And the hand of a person is not 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim. So it says Tosfos, when the Gemara asks this, lukim asnisim, let him establish our Mishnah, b'machzik achayfetz, when he's holding the item, be'inyan zen, such a manner, sherayas pnei akarka, that it sees the face of the ground. Why did the Gemara answer, according to Riva, that that the person was holding the item like this, that it sees the ground. According to Riva, it's considered at rest on the ground, which is 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim wide. And therefore, when he removed it from that person's hand and brought it into the other rishus, he's chayiv. And so too, when he placed it in another person's hand, he placed it in such a manner that it sees the ground, and therefore the anocha is onto an area that's 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim wide, according to the Riva. So Tosfos concludes with a difficulty. So to summarize the Tosfos, we presented the understanding of Rabbeinu Tam that the item is at rest on the wall, and therefore it needs to have 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim. According to Riva, it's at rest on the ground, and therefore the wall does not need to be 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim. And we concluded with the difficulty that the Ri has on the explanation of the Riva.